Thank you, Senator. Members of the committee. My name is Howard Libet. I'm Executive Director of the Baltimore Jewish Council. The BJC represents the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore and all of its agencies, as well as the broader Jewish community of the Baltimore region. Our responsibilities include helping to coordinate security preparations, trainings, and responses for the associated system and all the Jewish community institutions in most of Maryland's jurisdictions. For the past 2 years, I was fortunate to serve on the task force that was created through language by Senator Hendelman and Delegate Rosenberg. Our goal was to determine how to effectively oppose domestic terrorism and extremism in Maryland, including countering online extremism while protecting First Amendment rights. As Senator Hendelman said, we had a very diverse representation on this task force, including a number of outside organizations like the NAACP, like the Anti-Defamation League, like CARE, like the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and many other interested parties. Really, this bill comes just directly out of the task force report that was delivered to you at the end of last year. And it calls for establishing this Office of Domestic Terrorism Response within the Department of Emergency Management. What we heard over and over again was there's a lot of coordination going on. It's just not really formalized under one point. There's lots of people in law enforcement have relationships with people in other agencies, so they're talking on an informal basis, but it's not necessarily systematically coordinated. This office would ultimately look to do that. We see domestic terrorism surging as an issue. As Senator Hendelman mentioned, we just had the incident in the arrest in Baltimore County. We also, this past weekend, many of you may have heard of the online Day of Hate that was threatening Jewish institutions across the country. Fortunately, nothing came of it. Just in the last couple of days, we had anti-Semitic flyers being distributed in Parkville. The surge in anti-Semitic incidents, the surge in hate incidents is something we need to systematically work on as a state. And we think this office would help make all of our communities safer from hate. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for this opportunity to address the committee. The reason I'm against the domestic terrorism response bill is because the four primary things that I'm aware of that American citizens are concerned about as it relates to domestic terrorism are not addressed in any way, shape, or form in this bill. Number one, as a Black man, this would be something specific to Black people. Law enforcement overreach that we commonly refer to as police brutality has been an issue for us from the beginning. Since we've been here, it's still an issue. The ones that all Americans are concerned about, and this is what American citizens are talking about, the pedo-terrorism, the sexualization of children with the LGBT imposition of perversion in the school system, in the libraries. Parents are upset about it, want to know what they can do to protect their children from it, and feel like they're being assaulted from the society. Nothing in the bill helps to prevent that form of domestic terrorism. Number three, health terrorism. We remember no jab, no job. They attacked everybody. The military, which represents America's defense, the first responders, which represent the health, the government employees, which represent the logistics and infrastructure, and the teachers, which represent the future, the students. The whole republic under siege. Nothing in this bill that I see protects American citizens from government overreach in terms of health. And lastly, constitutional terrorism. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the 13th Amendment are under constant attack, and this is what American citizens are talking about and have an issue with. Nothing I see in this bill addresses the real true issues that American citizens and Maryland citizens are truly concerned about. And I didn't know this until I just heard it, but all I've heard is Jews have a problem and we want a bill that protects us. What about the rest of the American citizens that have real issues that are truly confronting us every day of our lives? So I'm against this bill, and I would ask that this committee not be able to be made because it does not address the issues of American citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Kamathi.